I was really looking at, man, if I was in his shoes and this is what my son wanted to do and he wanted to do it for this company, bro, no matter how I feel, great, good experience. I'm glad we got to do it. Gunther's a great guy, great champion, blah, 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 blah. And I'm doing all that for my son.
Since Russo, what's your take on this? And then two, I also want to ask you this as well. Was there any talk while you were in TNA? And EC3, you can talk. You can chime in on this too, from what you've heard. That when you were in TNA, were there any talks of Goldberg appearing or any interest?
God, I don't remember, bro. I don't think so, man. When I say I don't remember of any talks of him coming.
I would have loved that to happen, but that was never on the radar. I mean, my streak versus his. Hello, lay down, Bill. I'm coming for you. I know how to drop kick out of that spear.
Very nice, very nice. And a kick out and a kip up after a spear, EC3 style. That would have been very nice. What do you think, Vince? What's your take on this one,
bro? I think this is the most important thing, man. Forget all that. Whatever, forget all that. Here's the most important thing. Bro, if you want your son to get a job with the WWE, then no matter how unhappy or how disappointed you were, bro, you got to bite your freaking tongue, man. Because I'm looking at this as a father. We know your son wants to be a wrestler. You've made that clear. I think there has been some connections with the WWE. Bro, that's what it should be about right now. So if you're unhappy, I get it. I understand, things didn't work out exactly the way you wanted. But, bro, if it's me, now it's all about my son. And Bill should understand the wrestling business by now. If he's going to, air dirty laundry and have bad things to say, they're going to take it out on his kid, or his kid may never get an opportunity. So that's what I was really looking at. I was really looking at, man, if I was in his shoes and this is what my son wanted to do and he wanted to do it for this company, bro, no matter how I feel, great, good experience. I'm glad we got to do it. Gunther's a great guy, great champion, blah, 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 blah. And I'm doing all that for my son.
Yeah. Fair point, too. I'm going to address it from Goldberg's end, from his speech, from what I can interpret from his speech, which and both of y'all made great points. I think from Goldberg's end, he's just very dissatisfied on how the whole thing went, and fresh off of the moments, he's probably still affected by emotionally. He really didn't have a calm down or a cool down period. He went straight into the Ariel Helwani virtually just days after the event, and so you could tell that he didn't really have enough time to really cool down and rationalize his thinking. He's probably super hot throughout the weekend. He's probably yelling at his friends because he's very upset, probably throwing stuff. Like, you could tell that he had that type of mentality of how he was very disturbed by what happened, and you could tell that he was very upset about it. He mentioned a lot of things that was very interesting too. He mentioned how he knew this back in November. He knew the time, like all this was mapped out for the past 8 months. And his biggest thing, which I think is a fair point, he said he just had a few weeks before to just map this whole thing out. This is supposed to be a retirement match. Give it a story. And we talk about stories all the time, and I do think that that's a fair point, because
Chris, I think it's a fair point too. I absolutely do. However, on the other side of that coin, when they're laying this out for you, Bill, and you're seeing, oh my God, we're going to do this in 3 weeks, brother, you got to say that doesn't work for me, brother. You've got to say no.
I think that his pull has gone down quite a bit. He's not the type of, he doesn't have a lot of stroke to make those moves anymore. They're probably like, hey, either you take this opportunity to retire in Atlanta, or we'll pull you out of it. You know what I mean? And so it definitely seemed like that was a thing for him. And he's reluctantly said yes because he did want, some type of send off. But if they knew it, if they'd known that for 8 months, man, it's like what I think what happened, Vince and EC3, EC Sage. I definitely think what happened with that is they probably had something on the books for him and Gunther. They saw the J hype, they saw the yeet, they saw the merch sales, they pulled an audible, they inserted Jay there. It definitely doesn't seem like Jay was ever the long game. It never seemed like that was the case. Gunther got the belt back on a random Raw, and it led back up to the Goldberg thing. It seemed like the end game was Gunther Goldberg. Jay came in and inserted himself with all the hype and the yeet and stuff like that, but that was it. And so that definitely was at the expense of Goldberg, which I can understand why he was upset about it. But again, from a business standpoint, if one of your top merch sellers is going to sell merch, hey, you gotta strap the rocket on them too, man. So I can definitely understand both ends, and so we'll see where this leads to as far as if Goldberg has burned a bridge. I don't think he has. I don't think really anyone has the capability of burning a bridge if they're going to pull numbers in. What do y'all think?
Yeah, and I think too, the office of the WWE is kind of aware of, that's Bill is often vocal, right? So to be expected, and it's like it's the best of a bad decision sometimes. Like, we have to do this now, here and there. Like, it's not the optimal circumstances, but we either do it or we don't. And ball's in your court.
Yeah.
His son is training, though. I'd love to teach him promos or something,
There you go. Very nice.